Hey guys, we're actually going to work on a project while I talk about these new foils. We'll make something fun. Okay, so we're going to use a glass plate from the Dollar Tree, and we're actually going to work on the back side of the plate, not the front. Okay, so all the decoration that we're going to do is on the back, the bottom side, and that way, once we seal this, we can still use it for decoration. There won't be any product on the top side, so you could also use it for food, serving plate, or something useful, okay? First thing I like to do is just to clean these. I'm using our 91% isopropyl alcohol, okay, to clean. This is one of the products that I always recommend and use. It helps to get all the oils and dirt off of the surface. I just use it, I have it in a spray bottle, so I just spray the surface, and then I really do clean well, okay? I'm trying to rub this super well, get everything that's possibly on there off, and once you have the plate clean, you guys, let's keep our hands off of it, okay? Because if you touch this bottom side, you can possibly transfer oils back, okay? So I'm going to grab our foil adhesive. We're going to get this prepped, and then we'll talk more about those foils. Okay, so I'm using our Artsyville Embellishments foil adhesive. Don't let that gallon container scare you, okay? We do sell it in smaller quantity. I'm just going to take some of the foil adhesive out of the bucket. I'm putting it on what I call my sticky plate, and I'm just going to be using a foam brush. The one thing with our foil adhesive, it is not self-leveling. So if I brush, I'll have brush strokes that will be evident, okay? You'll be able to see them. So we're going to go for a different technique here. We're just going to pounce on the adhesive, and we're going to have a stippled effect, but it will be more uniform, and you won't have that feeling and look of having brush stroke, okay? So even if you use our foil adhesive and you water it down a little bit, you can soften some of those brush strokes, but watering it down on glass is not really recommended because we need the best adhesion we can get for working on a non-porous surface, okay? So I hope you can see that I'm using the brush more perpendicular and just trying to soften that stippled look so it's not really heavy, okay? Just soften it out a little bit, and then we're going to do the outside edge as well. So you can see that we're going to definitely have some texture from this technique, but it will be uniformed. It will be the same texture underneath. It's not going to be some obnoxious brush strokes, okay? You could possibly get a roller out. I was just thinking this curved edge of the plate would probably be a little challenging, so I'm just taking my time holding onto the plate as I'm doing this and pounce the whole surface. Now once we have the adhesive completely on the plate, I'm going to let this dry overnight, okay? For the best adhesion and also to allow the foil adhesive to get to a nice, firm, hard tack. I do recommend on a non-porous surface like glass to definitely allow it to dry overnight. Otherwise, you could possibly end up with the adhesive not wanting to stick as well. So be patient with this project. It's definitely going to take you a couple of days, not because it takes that much time to do it, but you're just going to need layers to dry. Okay, we almost have it here. I'm trying to be neat, okay? Trying to come back and make sure I don't have any obnoxious marks, that everything kind of looks uniformed and consistent. And then we will let this dry. Okay, hopefully you can see the texture I've created. And we're going to put that in a safe place and let that whole thing dry overnight. Okay, so don't be in a hurry. Now we're going to talk about these new foils. So when I talk about them being double-sided, they still have a carrier side, which is on the outside of the roll, okay? And then we have the transfer side, and the color is identical. So that means when they transfer, both sides are going to be the same color. Even if you had like our silver foil, or regular silver foil, it's going to look silver on the backing side, but it won't be as bright and shiny as the transfer side would be, okay? So these are definitely unique and different. They're unique in a couple of different ways as well. We cannot use a scrub brush with these. So they are a very, very easy release. All we will be using to transfer is a nice soft cotton rag. We're not going to be using any scrub brush on them because they will get scratched. So they're a great alternative to doing gold leaf. At least you won't have the mess that gold leaf always creates, okay? So we're going to let our plate dry, and we'll be back to play with these new gorgeous foils. Okay, guys, we have our plate. Our foil adhesive, it has completely dried. We still can see some texture, which I'm just trying to move the plate around so that you can see. There's like a little bit of a stippled look. And the first thing that we're going to do on this project is we're going to go ahead and transfer one of our, oops, see if I can get this in front of the camera, one of our transparent foils, and this one is Sandrina. I'm going to transfer this first, and then we're going to layer one of the double-sided foils over the top of this one as well. So just to give you guys ideas of different things you can do. Okay, once that foil grabs, we're just going to go ahead and smooth it into place. Embrace all of those wrinkles and crinkles, okay? So as we're doing this project, okay, this layer here is our transparent foil, one of our regular foils, and we can use a scrubber brush on it to get our transfer. When we get to our double-sided foil, I think I'm going to use silver lining on this. There will be no scrub brush, okay? Those foils are more like gold leaf, silver leaf, and we cannot use a scrub brush on them. But regular foils, yes, okay? So make sure just to note that, because I don't want anybody scratching the gold and silver foils if you're using the double-sided ones. Okay, let's peek, see what we have, okay? If there's any part where I've maybe had a wrinkle or something, just lay that foil right back down. See if you can get a little bit more release. And I'm going to go around the whole edge first. Oh my gosh, this is coming out so gorgeous. And I always say, take your time, go slow. You want to make sure you're happy with everything, so don't just be in a hurry to rip the carrier sheet off. Definitely do it a little at a time, critique, put it back into place if need be. Okay, I think we've made it almost all the way around the plate, and then we'll start taking off the bottom of it. Okay, I'm going to say this is really, really transferring well. Oops. Okay, oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, this is gorgeous just as it is, okay? And then you can see that you're going to see the beautiful pattern from both sides of the plate. Now, I'm not going to seal this, but I'm going to go directly over this with another layer of foil adhesive, okay? And actually, as I'm touching this, there's still a lot of stick to it, so I think we are going to go ahead. I don't want to end up with a weird reaction happening. I wasn't planning on doing this, but our transparent foils, are super thin films, and you normally can feel things to still be a little tacky. So I'm going to grab our final coat, and I'm going to put a layer on before I put on another layer of foil adhesive, okay? So I'm just going to brush this on. And that is one of the beauties of foils, is as soon as you have it transferred, you can go to your next step. Whatever that step may be, you're able to just go forward with your project. So I'm going to put on a good layer of final coat, and we will let this sit and dry, which final coat only takes like 15-20 minutes. And then once that's dry, we can go ahead and put our foil adhesive on and get ready for our next layer of foil. So we'll be back in a few minutes once this is dry. Okay, the final coat has completely dried, and by all means, you can leave this just as it is. It is gorgeous, okay? We are just playing with our new foils and want to add another layer. We're going to put the silver on the back of this because I think that will really pop the colors, and I like the light color going on it. So we transferred the Sandrina, the final coat has dried, and now I'm going to go ahead and pounce on another full layer of foil adhesive. Okay guys, once you have the plate completely covered, go put it someplace safe. And again, I'm gonna let this dry overnight and we'll be back for another layer. Okay guys, we're ready for our next layer. And again, I want to just talk briefly about our double-sided foils. You are looking at right now the transfer side, and this right here is the carrier side. They're identical. So you will see the same color both front and back on these particular foils, and we only have two of them. They just come in the silver and the gold. But I wanted to show you, this is our regular silver foil called Bright Silver, and this is the carrier side. This is what the transfer side looks like. So I just again wanted to show you guys a visual on the difference of using our new silver lining, which is double-sided. It is the same color both sides. I've anchored this down and tried to get my foil as neat as I could here, okay? If I can get a little tension on my jars, okay? So I've just used some 4 jars to just anchor it down because as you can see, these foils just want to curl right back up no matter what you do. The edges just keep curling in different directions. So I felt it was best to turn it with transfer side facing up, anchor it down. And now we're going to take our gorgeous plate that we've already done with Sandrina, and I'm going to put this upside down on here. So the adhesive side facing down, and then I'm just going to lift up my little jars that we're anchoring, and we could actually probably cut this a little bit shorter. I was a little too generous, okay? Just make sure that it's grabbed the plate, and we'll just snip off the excess here so we don't have to deal with all of that. Okay, once you have adhered it to the plate, we're going to flip the plate over, and again we are going to rub. And remember, you can only rub with a soft cloth. I don't want you to use any kind of bristled brush because you could end up scratching, okay, the foil. So you're just going to rub this foil with a soft cloth. Again, this one's called silver lining. It's different than any other silver foils. You will have the transfer will look the same color on both the front and the back of the transfer, which makes them great for doing some transparent glass projects, okay? So Rub with your cloth. Now I'm going to have some texture because I did a stippling technique to transfer the foil. So we're definitely going to have some areas that are not going to transfer probably as well, but we're going to have a nice rustic, distressed look with this, which I think is going to be so gorgeous. So again, rub. If you find a spot that didn't transfer super well, put the foil back, rub some more. I always feel that when I pull back and put the foil back down, it allows me to kind of rub it into those low areas as well, and sometimes get a little bit better transfer. We're going to have some wrinkles and crinkles, but we're just going to embrace all of that, okay? And release on the bottom. Let's let that fall right back into place. Rub again. We're going to peek on this side. And we're going to expose. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. And let's look from this side, okay? Now we have a beautiful pattern that's got this gorgeous, it looks like silver leaf underneath it. So just add it some more depth and dimension and makes it absolutely gorgeous, you guys. Okay, to finish this off, we have a couple more steps. Now, you're never going to get full opacity with one layer. So if you decided you didn't want a little bit of a distressed look, you could come back with like your leftover corners here. Even place those over the areas where maybe you didn't get as much coverage, and see if you get a little bit more release. If you're looking for completely opaque, then I'm going to suggest that you do a second layer of the silver lining, which will create a more opaque finish for you, okay? So you definitely can take a fresh piece, okay? So either your corners that were left over, or if you cut off a small piece, again, you can use this, rub it around. It'll backfill in anything that possibly is still open enough to give you a little bit more release. So I'm going to go around and do that really quickly. You can see even on my foil that every time I place it and rub, I'm getting a little bit more coverage from the foil. So let's do this last section, and then we're going to seal. Okay, I'm going to use Final Coat. You can work with just about any water-based top coat. Our favorites are Final Coat. We also use Modern Masters and also Golden Paintworks top coat. So I'm just going to use a coat of Final Coat on here to start with, and then for added protection, you can hand rub on a super thin layer of epoxy. And when I did that, I put the epoxy on and I laid the plate on plastic. So if any of it still ran over to the edges, you could easily pull it off the plastic and then just go ahead and clean up any of those edges if need be, but use a super, super thin layer of epoxy. Okay, Final Coat dries within about 10 to 15 minutes, so you can layer it on. And I do suggest you put at least a couple of coats of Final Coat on before you hit it with epoxy. I sure hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Just another fun way to use our foils, and introducing you to our new double-sided silver lining and Harvest Gold foils. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today for this fun tutorial. You will find a complete list of all materials and supplies in the description below, and make sure hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials.